me again. Hello, Orlando. Hello. I'm tootling down the road, and so I can't really read all of these, of course, for my own safety. But I know I can see a glimpse out of the side of my eye that's saying like, hello, hello, hello. So hello, hello, hello to all y'all. I told you all the other day when I got through with the other video, I said I'll come back and do a live video follow-up, and I was saying it may be 2 hours, 5 hours, or something like that, and that was truly my intention. But I was so, and the heat was like, I don't know what the heat index was, but it's like 105, 109, depending on who you talk to, where we was at. And I probably spent 2.5 or 3 hours out in that heat, and then about the same amount of time under air conditioning somewhere. And here's one of the things I want to say. I told y'all I'd talk to y'all about Mr. Bears, the tow truck owner. I mean, he's the owner of the tow truck company. And so I'm going to tell you the part I can tell you. He says he's been in business for 35 years. He contracts with like 8 different police, city jurisdictions in the area. He's contracted with DPS, Department of Public Safety. I asked him, did he have a current license? The answer was yes. He said, I knew you would ask. He got out his license and showed me his license. And I was looking on the date to make sure it wasn't just got the previous day or a couple of days beforehand, and it wasn't. It had been in effect for a long time. And I honestly can't remember the exact date right now in my mind, but I knew at the time, this is like several months in a place, so it meant that he had tow license back then. Then also, he had the license behind that, which meant it had never ran out. And according to him, DPS doesn't do the licensing, the regulatory part of it. That there's a different regulatory agency in Texas for records. And this is his side of the story, okay? And I told him I would share his side of the story, which is what he wanted to talk to somebody and say, everybody knows everybody else's side of the story. I want to tell you my side of the story. He said, you're a preacher. I think you'll be fair. You feel like you're the only person I can talk to maybe get a fair shake. I said, well, I'll listen and I'll think and I'll pray and I'll keep the pastoral part, the ministry part between us for your needs and situations. But anyway, the license was good. The license is good. It obviously was not posted up on the wall in the office, and I'm kind of drawing a conclusion because I kind of hit on it, but I got sidetracked because I think I was distracted. Anyway, he has the license. It just wasn't posted up there where anybody could see it. It was actually in the office. So that's an error or a violation, however you want to look at it, by not being properly posted. But I don't feel to speak to that other than, he obviously knows that. I know that. Y'all know that. It was on video. The guy at the office tried to be, nice and friendly and explain things to them. He said that the parking lot that is the city, police, whatever have you, the government parking lot that's right next to the Life Water Alkaline store, but it's on the government side, is, he said, that's where Mr. Freeman, that's where his truck was at, or vehicle, whatever he called it. And I said, well, he said he was parked over here at the Alkaline place, and he said, well, it's close to it, very close to it, but he said he was actually on this other property. And I said, well, that's not what James said. He said, well, he said it was, and he says he can prove it. So I guess that'll be between James and him. You know, if whatever. And then he said Johnny 50 had messed up his Facebook and let's see, what was the other thing? His ratings, his website, his phone lines, and didn't shut his business down, but put a gigantic, I said, obviously you done something to upset them, and they feel wronged. So basically, I'm just saying basically, I'm not trying to put no words in his mouth, and I'm not trying to advocate for him. I'm just putting it out there. I'm not Fox News, but I'm trying to go by their motto. I report, you decide. I report, you decide. But then I also have commentary at the same time. So, he said, basically he was willing to talk to James man to man. You know, just like I met with him. You don't want to be on video. It'd be a private conversation. He's willing to meet with him. Anybody else that wants to meet with him face to face, as long as they're not trying to do a I got you, or hook him up, or videotape him, or whatever, and try and resolve any misunderstandings. Okay, so I'm just saying that that's what he's saying. So I've reported it. You decide. In other words, his thing is, I was in business for 34 years and never had nothing more than a tiny road bump in the road. Okay? And then he said Mexican Padilla got his car towed, and because he's a tow truck driver himself, then that caused a rift between him, Mexican Padilla, and whoever he drives for, and then the Bears tow truck company. So it got to be an internal war between them two. So it was like infighting between two competitors, because one of them, and he was saying Mexico Padilla, his ego was hurt, he was mad and upset and so forth. He said, so it's like a struggle, and he's trying to turn everybody against me, unjustified. And I said, you know, I don't have a dog in the fight. I'm not for anybody, and I'm not against anybody. If what you did is legit, okay. If it's not, I'm not okay with it. Well, anyway, basically, he's telling me this, and I believe him on this part for sure. You know, and his license is good. The other part is up to opinion, and it's up to how people feel about things, and whatever the right thing is to do. So, he said when any tow truck company in Texas takes a vehicle in, if the vehicle winds up being there for 45 days, then they can turn around and sell it to recover their cost, what have you. Okay? He says cities in Texas can do it in 20 days. He said that in San Antonio, I think he said it was every Wednesday, but basically every week that they got a sale for cars, and there's probably a couple hundred cars there every single week. It's just that much. And I don't know if he was saying approximately or that was an average or what, but in other words, it's a lot every week because their 20 days runs out and this set of cars gets sold and the next set of cars gets sold, the next set of, he said he didn't think that was fair. That they ought to have to wait 45 days just like the tow truck companies. And he said the vehicles that I tow on the contract for Leon Valley, he said they don't go to my lot. I said, I know that. He said, well, some people's under the misconception it's going to my lot and I'm making money hand over fist. He said, that's not true. He said, I get my standard contract fee. And I think that's $100, but I'm not sure. Don't quote me on it. And then the city gets their $200 or $300, whatever they charge. But the city does make money off of that, plus so much for storage. So if they get you for whatever the municipal charge is, so they get that money on the municipal charge, and then that lets them hook up your vehicle. So that's two for one on the money. Then of course they got the red light cameras that I don't have the hard copy on the paperwork, but somebody that looked at it said they made over $700,000 in 2 months. I was going to fill y'all in on, but I wasn't sure I wanted to talk about it then. I wanted to pray about it. I wanted to think about it. And I wanted to make sure that I was fair and honest with Mexican Padilla. I want to be sure that I was fair and honest with James Freeman. I want to be sure that I was fair and honest with Mr. Bears, the tow truck company owner. I wanted to make sure that I said things that were factual, things that was accurate, and if I didn't know, I said I don't know. If I think, I say I think. If I believe, I say I believe. That way, I could sit down and have coffee with James. And he's like, right on, brother. I could meet with Mexican Padilla and go, right on, brother. And I could meet with the tow truck company driver and go, right on, brother. I try my very best to be the voice of reasoning. I try and to report and publish facts. And when they're a fact, I say it's a fact. When it's an opinion, I say it's an opinion. And when I say it's my experience, it's my experience. When I say it's training, it's my training. I tell everybody I'm not a bar card lawyer or a bar card judge. I believe bar card lawyers and bar card judges have their place in society. I believe that common law lawyers have their place in society. I believe there's a place for the justice of the peace in states that have a justice of the peace, and for the constables that serve their process and papers and do the various things that constables do, sheriffs, chiefs of police, marshals, rangers, troopers, everybody, the police, everybody's got a role in society. When you carry that role out correctly, rightly, and justly, you get a thumbs up from me, and you can count on me to be your backup. If you don't, you can count on me to tell you you're wrong. You can count on me to take you to court or help other people to take you to court and settle it in a court of record. Everything's true, everything's honest, it's out in the daylight. There's a record of it. Now, what I don't agree to is how come a man or a woman can go into a municipal building, can go into a county building, a state building, a federal building. It doesn't matter if it's the FBI, DEA, NSA, whatever. It doesn't matter where you go. You can film all the outside of the building, so long as you're in a lawful place. You can film all the outside, and if it's a public accessible area like lobbies, of course people ain't going to the bathroom to film, but I'm just using that. That's a public access area that you have a right to go, not film in there because that's a bathroom. I mean, common sense will tell you that. You don't need a lot to tell you that, I hope. And but if you go into a foyer, you go into a lobby, these places put out paintings. These are taxpayer dollars that pay for the building. Taxpayer dollars that pay for the paintings, the plaques, everything you see there come off of taxpayer money. Okay? And the taxes that you pay for gas in the city, the utility taxes, say you're passing through that city or that town and you buy gas, you just paid some tax to that city. If you buy something in there, a portion of that local tax goes back to them. So it ain't just the home owners, it ain't just the business owners, but anybody that goes through there that spends even a dollar paid something to that local entity, and they're now a taxpayer in that jurisdiction. They said, well, what they pay? 10 cents or 20 cents, it don't matter. It was their money, and they had to pay that government that pays for those police cars, those police salaries, and blah, blah, blah. Also, I met with a man, I know his name, and he's been a citizen there for well over a decade. He's been a citizen in Leon Valley, and he reached out to me. I don't like that saying, but he talked to me, he dialogued with me. That reaching out, that's kind of like the word interesting. Reaching out can mean everything and it can mean nothing. Interesting can mean nothing and everything. So it's just too broad based and it sounds too corporate for me. It's like the corporate 500 or the Fortune 500 company talk. I don't dig it, but I use it because I have to, because some people, that's all they know is reaching out. Okay? So people's been reaching out for 10, maybe 15 years. Before that, people dialogued and talked to people. So they got these buzzwords. And corporations have a lot to do with the American corporations for the states and the national government. And they're all using the same set of attorneys, and attorneys use certain words and phrases, and they help them set up their paperwork. And so goes the attorney language, so goes the government language, and the private corporate businesses, so goes a lot of society, and they start picking up on these words. But you need to know words have meanings and meanings have words, and their meanings and my meanings don't necessarily match. They don't have to. That's their description of it. Just like two people can see an accident, one describes it one way and one describes it another. Neither one's a liar, they just see it differently. Same accident, two different viewpoints. And so I had to talk to James. He was talking out loud again. I'm up here trying to concentrate, and he's back there whispering. We're reading a book, and it's distracting. So he's going to do better. He's a great guy. Y'all remember James. But this good citizen, this is the way I agree to refer to him. Good citizen one. Good citizen one. like ONE, Good Citizen 1. He said, if you want to trace everything back, hook on to the mayor. I said, why the mayor? So he started connecting the dots, and he says, well, the mayor has a specific clique in town. And there may be a couple of hundred people that's in the local clique. Well, those 100 people, or however many it is, that they're connected to several people they're connected with. So long as she has those 100 people under her wing and make sure that they want from the city, so they go out and advocate for her specifically, but her very specifically, want from the city. So they go out and advocate for her specifically, but her very specifically. 5 to 7 votes apiece, guaranteed. Well, out of 11,000 and some change, he's saying, you can go back and check the record, but he believed it was about 700 people out of 11,000 votes, so only 700 people care about the government and vote. And the super majority of that is her 100 people plus the 4 or 5 people, 7 people, whatever they bring to vote with them and swing them, and that's how she gets to keep being mayor. So she's not worried about losing her job. And the city manager said, we have insurance for that, meaning civil rights violations. I also talked to a man that has been in the insurance business for probably 45 years. And I think he's now retired. Just retired. But anyway, he's looked into a lot of things. And he said one thing you could look into is these cities, just like if you have an accident in your car, you may have a $200 deductible per incident, or $1,000 or $2,000 deductible per incident. And he believes, based on his own probable cause, he believes that Leon Valley has a $100,000 deductible. So every time they're sued, they got to come up with the first $100,000 before their insurance kicks in. So just say there's 3 or 4 waves of lawsuit, maybe more, maybe 8 or 10 coming down the pike. They gotta take care of the first 100,000 according to him. I'm not an insurance man. I had a member of my family had his own insurance company, but he's passed on to be with the Lord, so I can't ask him. But if this man's information is true, and that many years, he ought to know. And he wasn't an adjuster in Omaha, Nebraska. He's an adjuster in Texas for like 45 years. And so let's just say even 3 rounds of lawsuits, the city would have to come up with the first 300,000, over $250,000, and then they got to raise taxes or do something to be able to pay that money back into the treasury. Another thing, he was very specific, and I knew this, but I didn't know specifically. And maybe I did, but I didn't think of it as clear and concise as the man put it to me. Hey. So, he said, if an insurance company can see that something was premeditated, they thought about it before they went and did it. the insurance company can decline the claim just like they can on an accident. If you said, well, I'm going to get drunk out of my mind and go drive my car, and the insurance company had witnesses that you premeditatedly decided in your right mind that you're just going to go get intoxicated and get out of your mind, and you're going to go drive your car and you have that intent, they can decline it. If you have a history of doing this, they can decline it. So basically, Leon Valley, since this Chief Slugfield, since he come into power, wanting to be the sitting king on top of his hill, since he's got there, the police size has doubled without justification. The red light cameras have come into being and was not properly studied before to even know that, quote, they needed such a thing. Yo, yo, yo. And so forth and so on. So, he's been doing a lot of things to generate a lot of revenue and to increase the size of the department to appease himself. The bigger your department is, the better equipment you have, the higher status you have among your peers. So it appears he wants to make as much or more money than Chief McManus in San Antonio. He wants to play the big pee-pee contest with him because he got fired from him for cheating on an exam because he lost his integrity, and the chief knew that and got rid of him. So he went and muscled his way back in with the union to force them to do things against their will. Kind of like, we got to give your job back to you technically on some special provision in the union contract, and that's how you wind up with bad cops. Some of these unions and union contracts, some PBA units, some fraternal order of police do these things, and a lot of young people that join these things and they stay in them for their whole life, they don't actually realize what's going on until they're up to here, mixed up in these groups. Now there was a day and there was a time that FOP was a very needful thing. There was a day and time that PBA units was needed, and there could still be a place if they changed their operational standards and operated differently like they used to. When they come into being, it was like a society of police. And this society of police says, we don't want to just be fired because we had to arrest the mayor's son or daughter. We don't want to be arrested or charges put on us and left out in the cold because we actually did something the law told us to do. We don't want to be hurt. They're not providing insurance for us, and they are for other people, or maybe other people in the city was getting paid sufficiently higher wage than they were, and they said they're not even putting their life on the line. We are. We want a fair paycheck. We want fair benefits. Okay, I get it. I was there. I was the same way. I belonged. Disclosure, I belonged to Florida PBA. And in fact, I utilized them when people was violating the Police Bill of Rights on the state of Florida. Because police, for those of you who don't know, like your police sergeant, your police captain, the chief, they can mandate that you tell exactly what happened. And even though you didn't commit a crime, the Fifth Amendment comes into place because you have a right not to self-incriminate. But if your captain or your sergeant says it's in the scope of your job, you have to tell us. Well, you can't be forced to tell, and then they use it against you. So they have these police bill of rights, so the policeman don't have any extra rights, but he has the same rights as, quote, any other alleged criminal. Nothing more, nothing less. So I said, hey, that's fair. So, for example, somebody alleged that I did something on a traffic stop and arrest that was not true. They actually said I took my car and run into their car and knocked them up a few feet. Or did something to their bumper. I forget exactly. Well, in fact, the man had 5 felony warrants on him, forcible felonies like rape and burglary and stuff. He took off to run, and I had to chase him down, fight with him, get him in cuffs, and get him to my car. And she was going to try and get away, and she had put the car in reverse, and it hit my car. And so I'm getting out of the car to go and arrest her now. She's hitting my car, and or at least talk to her, find out what's going on. Well, she physically ran on foot. I got a man in the back. I can't go nowhere. I can't chase her. So deputy sheriffs found her. Well, anyway, she signed a complaint saying that I had rammed the car and I'd hurt her. But I had a volunteer firefighter that was riding with me that had seen the whole thing, who gave a sworn affidavit as to what was happening. Another man and his wife, who I wouldn't say they were like police supporters of some sort. And they used to stop by and see how things was going, and he was actually thinking about becoming a police officer. And they were sitting at the gas station across the way, and they got a sandwich at the deli, and they was watching what was going on, and they seen everything that happened. Whoa, ho, ho, Jesus looking out for me again. And when they seen that woman run and all this other stuff, they kind of waved at me, and I told them, come on over. And I said, what's going on? Because I didn't know she was going to make this false claim. I said, what's going on? Y'all see that woman run? They said, yeah. And I said, well, I'd like to get an affidavit from y'all if I can. They said, sure. And I said, but I got to take this guy because we had a fight. I got to take him to the hospital and get him cleared and take him to jail. I'm going to have an inspection on my car since it was damaged. And that car, and I'm going to have that car towed. There is no driver. She escaped. He's going to jail. And anything he put down would be helpful. And I said, I ain't going to tell you nothing other than just put down what you've seen in your own words. So they put it down, he put it down. Well, lo and behold, she swore to the deputies, and the deputies got my chief of police at the time and told him she was accusing me of ramming the car and hurting her and threatening to kill her. But they didn't know they had these witnesses. And so the chief started telling me, you got to tell me what happened. Well, I told him, and he says, well, she's saying this and saying that, and we're basically going to suspend you with pay. And I says, that's fine. And then he started trying to tell about this and that. And I said, I got the very distinct impression he was trying to build a case against me. And I said, well, I'm going to invoke the Police Bill of Rights. And I called my rep. So he says, well, that's the end. You're on suspension without pay. Well, a bar card lawyer from the PBA came, talked to me on scene in the middle of the night, and represented me. And he explained to the chief, he explained to the city manager and the mayor, even the council, what the law says and why it says it. And the city had their attorney there. The city attorney agreed. The chief had violated the Police Bill of Rights. He obviously believed, by his own statement, that I'd committed some crime. He didn't read me my rights, which even he had to do, even to another police officer, because that's giving you warning that I think you're committed a crime, and I'm investigating you for a crime. And at that point in time, you got the right to remain silent like everybody else. But he mandated I talk when he was focusing on criminal, so he violated all my rights. Well, I had the opportunity at that particular time to sue him personally in his personal capacity and professional capacity, and sue the city. And the attorney said, you know, we could pretty well clean their cloth. I said, but if we do that, the city right now probably, I think, has around a $200,000 elimination, which means they got to come up with that money, which in turn means the local taxpayers are going to have to pay more taxes to get that money back into the city. And I said, so I don't want to do that. They said, you want to sue the chief in his private capacity, he has assets. And I said, you know, I think he's kind of old, a little nutso. And I said, he's going to leave. And I said, one day I'll be the chief of police around here. And I actually did become the chief later on. And I said, I know the people, I love the people, I'm going to do what's right. So, from personal experience, the PBA is useful and needful in situations like that. And to get a fair contract for the police in general. I agree to all that 100%. But when they fix it to where you gotta jump through 3 or 5 different hoops to fire a cop that really is bad, and then they do fire a cop for violating policies and laws, and their integrity and their honesty is proven not to be on par with police standards, and then they force you to hire them back because of some contract. Even negotiating a contract like that's bad, and then trying to enforce it's even worse. Just like in Slugville, Chief Slugville's case. Anyway, the mayor is the common denominator. The mayor helped decide who the city manager was. She helped decide who the chief would be, definitely behind the scenes, and maybe some in front of the scenes, but definitely behind the scenes. So the mayor is responsible for the city manager and the chief. And she has her 100 people totally brainwashed that this is real good and this is real needful, and we got an excellent city manager and we got an excellent chief of police. And I found out why the is gone. It's because he was a fair dealing, fair and square guy. If he was right, he was right. If he was wrong, he was wrong. However it went, that's how it was. And he did not fit into the mayor's clique. So she ousted him over time because he wasn't a revenue generating machine, and he didn't believe in cliques. He's like, hey, if you're an honest guy or an honest gal, I'm gonna treat you honest. If you're a crook, I'm gonna treat you like a crook. And I use common sense, logic, and wisdom. I'm a man and I make mistakes. Cops are human beings, they make mistakes. And that was his line. he was from the way the Good Citizen One explained him to me, and I'm reporting what this source told me, and I know how to contact him for further information if need be. He said, you just got to look at it. And said the chief of police is the mayor's muscle. If she don't like something in town, she tells the chief, fix it. And he goes and fixes it. It's like 1957, Jim Crow laws. The mayor says, we don't want black people on this side of the line. Chief, you go enforce that. Totally legal, but he goes and does it. Well, she tells the chief of police, from my understanding, and Good Citizen One, he's not in the clique, but he's good friends with a handful of people that is in the clique. That they tell him and his family certain things. They're in the clique for their own self-gain and benefit, but they don't mind that being known. Then he gathers up all this intelligence and said, I wanted somebody that was honest and fair and truthful to come along that I could share this with. And he said, I believe you truly are an honest retired chief of police. I've done my research on you. I know you're a man of God. There's no doubt in my mind. And he said, I feel like you'll give me a fair shake. So remember when I disappeared a couple times? One time was to talk to the tow truck company owner. One time was to talk to Good Citizen One. Then I had people come up, other people that needed things or wanted to tell me miscellaneous things about the city. So some other citizens come up at different times to talk to me. Made phone calls to me before I got there, made phone calls to me after I left there, because some of my people said, we know some local citizens that want to tell you some intel. Can we give them your number? I said, yes. So different ones called me and talked to me. Some people didn't want to do that. They wanted to text me, and they got a text app and I got a text app. So they went text app to text app. So they wanted to be secret squirrel. Okay, that's fine. I didn't care. I mean, I'm not after the messenger, I'm after the message. And that's why people talk to me, because they know if you say this is off the record, it's truly off the record. If it's on the record, it's on the record. If it's to deal with ministry, it's off the record. If it's to deal with politics and law and everything else, it's on the record. So I honor that. That's why the people come to me. That's why all the auditors, I can't think of a single auditor that hasn't talked to me in person or on the phone or emails, or usually on the phone, but a lot of different ways, because I don't repeat what they say unless they say it's okay to repeat it. I pray for it and minister to and with various auditors as they want it and as they allow it, need it. I meet police along the way that have seen my channel. And some say, I think you're going about this the right way. I think you're fair. And a lot of them will say, I believe, we got some great cops out here and we got some dirty cops. And we got some that's lost the sauce. They want to do the right thing, they just don't know what the right thing is, so they make mistakes. And I'm like, I believe that. And some of them say, well, I was trained like he was back in the old school, and we didn't treat people this way. And these cops think they're doing the right thing, but they're post 9/11, and they're trained to be aggressive. They're trained to escalate. they're trained to be on a war footing, like they're in, Iraq, Afghanistan, Pakistan, wherever. And a lot of them have come back from the war. So the war's still going on in their mind, and they see you as the enemy. And they deal with you as the enemy, like you're the enemy of the state. And they deal with you that way. Because they're still in that, and some of them have flashbacks to this 17-year war we've been in over the Middle East. So they have knee-jerk reactions, and then they're taught that if you don't bend over and comply, then you're enemy combatant. Even though you're not a combatant and you're not an enemy. You're certainly not enemy combatant, but that's how they're got you labeled. So, or if you say certain words or phrases, and you could have nothing to do with what people label a sovereign citizen movement, which there's no such a thing. It's one of them things like saying overpass, bridge, doctor, physician, medical doctor, healer. It's like saying the same word twice. Truck, sovereign citizen. Car, sovereign citizen. Man. It's like repeating the same word twice. Sovereignty comes from the citizens. The sovereignty in the United States of America and each of its 50 state republics come from the people. And it says the power is vested in the people. And the people give a small pinch of that to government with specific authority, duties, and responsibilities and accountabilities in the 50 state republics and in the Republic, United States of America, a constitutional republic. And these people go to war, they come back, and so as far as the police department is concerned, we've got this man or woman, usually a man, sometimes a woman, but I call it like it is, good, bad, or indifferent. So they got 90% men, some places 100%, some places 80%, but used about 90% or more men. And they come back from this war and they say, I'm a lean, mean, fat machine. I got a gun and a machine. I'm ready to roll like G.I. Joe. So the closest thing they can get stateside is a cop job. So they're back in uniform, carrying a gun legally like they did in the military. In the military, they chased down their targets and dealt with them. Kill them, disable them, whatever. Well, psychologically, they're chasing you down in their police car and disabling you. And they're taking control of you. And just like in war, they decide who they're going to keep and put in their wartime jails or prisons, and who they're going to release and why. Okay, over here, they're deciding if you go to jail, you get released. But if you talk certain talk, then you're, quote, sovereign citizen. Now, you go to the head of the line. You're going to be treated totally and completely different than everybody else in America because they've trained them. So let's just say, if you believe, and it's true, and you go even look at Supreme Court decisions, they said when the 14th Amendment came into being, that amendment was for the freed slaves to have civil rights, not inalienable rights, but civil rights. And civil rights meant equal access to the courts, equal access under the law, to be treated fairly, the same as people that had inalienable rights, which is another way to say the free white man at that time. And they said that the government was creating a brand new set of citizenship that was different than citizenship up to that point. And they said citizenship doesn't change for anybody that was a pre-14th Amendment citizen. They go on with their inalienable rights, and then all their children have that inherent right. So that's why the court was treating white people as sovereign, and they were treating black people as second-class citizens. It was like a first class, second class, and the black people were absolutely totally correct, and the courts acknowledged that and said that the white people had inalienable rights, the black people had civil rights, and civil rights is a privilege that can be given and taken. Sovereignty and inalienable rights is at birth from your birthright and cannot be taken from you. The only way, quote, to take any of those things away from you is through the due process of law. That's why due process is so important. You gotta do this, then you gotta do this, then you gotta do this, and it's a set of processes where you have the opportunity to object to the process, or say it's not proper, or say there's inaccuracies and errors in it, and make the government correct those, so forth and so on. And if that doesn't happen, then the case dies, dismissed, is nully prost. Whatever the mechanisms are triggered in the system so that it goes away if you don't have the due process. So, sadly, very sadly, there is many bar card lawyers and many bar card judges that are taught theories and concepts in law school. Well, theories and concepts, that's fine, but you gotta actually learn the actual law, and then you've gotta learn the difference between customs and usage, and what the true law is, and then what is statutes and what is codes, what is enforceable versus what is not. And so then you got a guy that was a lawyer or a lady that was a lawyer, and then they become a judge, but they're still a bar card member, and they're now a judge. So this bar card lawyer and this bar card judge went to the same schools. They had the same training, okay? And so they are on the same wavelength, like 155.00543 alpha 0, whatever it is. They're on the same wavelength, okay? So they make claims and accept claims. They make motions and accept motions based upon their training, their education. That'd be like getting two cops together. You can get a cop that started in the mid or late 70s, and somebody like me, and me and that man or woman. There was women in there, but there was very, very, very few. I mean, it's exploded compared to then over the years, which is good. The more diverse the police are to meet the society, the better it is. You need to have more women in there. That brings the other gender in there for considerations. You need to have as many races as you can, people of various religions, so that you kind of equal the community. What I call community police, and I was doing that before there was a word for it. And but anyway, I digress. If you sit me and this guy down, and boom, we start talking about inalienable rights, and we're on the same wavelength. Then we talk about civil rights, we're both on the same wavelength. We talk about custom and usage in the law, we're on the same wavelength. We talk about statutes, codes, and policies, and what they truly are versus the way they're applied. And then we talk about theories, and then we talk about realities. And we're a lot on the same wavelength. In fact, some of these cops, then their sons become cops, their grandsons become cops, just like if a man raised horses, his son may raise horses, and his grandson may raise horses, just like farmers. Their children, people's children, follow their parents' occupations a lot of times. And then they turn around and it goes 2, 3, 5 generations, 8 generations in the same family business. And although police really isn't a business, it is and it isn't. It's supposed to be a government servant function that is a corporate entity on paper, a fiction, and therefore it is like a novel. And people fill the roles of the novel. So that's why, like in Texas, they call people actors, like the movie Actor, A-C-T-O-R. So they talk about the man was a bad actor. Just proves my point that it's like a play. So in this play, somebody's the sheriff. In this play, somebody's the burglar. In this play, somebody's the governor. And so it's actually a play put on paper, and people fill these fictional roles to carry on society and to make government operate. So they're filling paper entity roles. And unfortunately, a lot of lawyers, probably since the 1980s, and the later the worse, were not taught a lot of case law. And I recently was talking to a bar card lawyer in Michigan that I know very well, and he understands everything I'm saying. He says, now getting that to be applied, used, and operated in the courts of today, like they say in these days and time, is like pulling teeth from a jackass. It can be done, but it's very, very hard. And then the Bar Association will try and, in a metaphorical way, to blackball you. So they basically spread your name out here that, you're the sovereign citizen lawyer. He said, it's not true, there's no such a thing. He said, but I know from the inside, he said, I know some judges that went to law school in the 40s and 50s. They're still alive, they're pretty damn old, but they went to law school then, and they said they had recently went to a law school and they were seeing how they were taught and trained today. And they said, well, what about this, what about this? Well, we don't train that away no more. We're just trying to streamline everything. Well, you can't streamline justice. You can't streamline the Constitution. But that's what they're telling them. They're telling them how to operate the courts like a business. And he said the courts are better at telling people what to do than following the law themselves. He said, for example, some of these judges that got together recently, these were some judges in the very late 60s through the mid and late 70s, and they said the way the justice system worked then versus now, it might as well have been the 1500s then. Maybe I'm exaggerating a little bit, but you get the point. That it didn't change just a little bit. It wasn't no, quote, tweaks to the system. It was gigantic, incredible, major overhaul that was not constitutional in nature. They went from a law system to a policy system and said the law enforcement was taught by this new, quote, justice system judges, this is how we want you to deal with things. And if you write these type of reports and you say these kind of things, do these kind of things, then we're going to back you up and we're going to give you what you want, what you need. So the courts and the cops become in cahoots in lots of jurisdictions. But there are still places that the judges know the truth, and they're the second or third generation in their family to be judges. And they were taught by their daddies and their grandpas, and they understand custom and usage. They understand, for lack of a better word, the world court system and things that the world as nations, basically League of Nations, have agreed on since, the last 120 years have all agreed that certain rights people have when they're born. Certain things that nobody can give a man and nobody can take away from a man. Okay? He's born with the right of self-defense. Everybody has the right to defend themselves. And not only a right, but in the case of a man, not only did he have the right to defend his wife and children, he had a specific duty to do it. And if he didn't do it, he was a coward, and he was basically run out of town on a rail under custom and usage because he failed to provide for his family. He was an unfit father, and that was before they ever had these so-called courts that decide if you're fit or unfit. The people decided. The judges backed them up. I recently talked to a man that came here from a communist nation in the Eastern Bloc. This man said to me, how dumb and how dumbed down America's become over the last 20 to 30 years that he's been here. That they seem like they're dumbed down, and he said, I've been in a socialist communist country, and I've been in socialist communist countries, and don't America see that they're on the brink of Germany not too long before World War II, that power was being centralized and re-centralized and re-centralized and re-centralized, and then somebody was moving up in the ranks to take more power, said you have the exact same elements and principles going on in the United States. It's not as fast, and it's not as organized, and it's not necessarily by one man like that was Hitler. He said, but you may have 50 or 100 men in this country that wield immense power, so it's not one man, but it is several men and a handful of families that control a lot of corporations, even behind the scenes, that they're mainly on paperwork and they're gathering all this stuff. This man's well placed in the United States, with government corporations and private corporations at the pinnacle. He goes to a lot of dinners. He gets invited to a lot of invitation-only events for the government, for the people, due to what he knows and the services he provides. He's around all these people, and he said, "Don't you know that this police state?" He said the police state was very minimal. It wasn't a police state. It was headed that way, but it was at a trickle. 2001 come along, they dumbed the people down, they scared the people, they're promoting the resolution to the quote, whatever. I'm getting lost in my thoughts here. It happens. Anyway, the long and short was, one thing come around that I've been trying to get to, and I lost my train of thought twice, about cameras in a courtroom. They said, how come judges are quick to say you can film in any public accessible area? You can film the police in their official government capacity. You cannot film in a courtroom and film a judge, or just like a police officer, how come you can't film them? They seem to be the black robe regime. Okay, judges will say, hey, you can film the cops in their capacity, you can film the trash collector, you can record the city, go in government buildings and film in all the public access areas. You can film the outside, you can film anything you can see from a pub, anything you got up, you can film. And yada yada yada. Want you to see it, then they need to put it inside of a building or build a wall over it. And said you can even fly drones up into the sky and see what you can see. So if they don't want you to see it, they better put a top over it and wall it. You know, that's just the way it is. So I'm like, all right. So I said, you get this, and there's other judges to get it. Wow, wow, wow. He said, you know, it's going to happen most likely that somebody is going to sue the court system for relief, or one court is going to be sued in another court for an injunction or some other type of writ or paperwork or claim or motion to say these following things are going on in this courtroom and this judge has forbid this to be in there. But according to other Supreme Court decisions, it says you can film government servants in the performance of their duty. And since a judge is a government servant and he's performing his function as a judge on the bench, then according to the law, I got this right and I'm being forbidden. So I want you to order this court to stand down. So one judge orders another judge to stand down, and then you've got a precedence. And you build upon that. And they said if we work very hard, it may take 1 year, it may take 5 years, but eventually enough pressure, enough people, and the court's being exposed, and the courts are scared. The courts are scared of having their authority taken away or being lessened, and now they're not little Jesus. And they get knocked down a few pegs like law enforcement has over the last 20 years. Law enforcement's had to come down to reality in a lot of places. That courts are going to have to step down a little bit and be more realistic. And you're going to be able to film things. And when you film things, then guess what? Judges become accountable like the police. Judges will be fired just like cops. They already are, but it'll become much more. The boundaries will be enlarged. The percentage will go up exponentially compared to what it is now. Oh my God, oh my God. So, I am going somewhere to try and do an audit this evening, if possible. And I'm meeting with another man. Somebody got us a motel room, an extra night motel room. So we stayed an extra night. Somebody else gave us some money for some gas to get to where I'm going. The guy that I'm meeting, he's going to kind of be my backup guy on the audit this evening, if possible. If not, maybe we can do it tomorrow morning. So, if I can't do it this morning, not this morning, if I can't do it this evening, we may have to do it in the morning, but then I got to get another motel room. Anyway, I told you everything I can tell you, but if anybody can help me out with some PayPal funds to help me get a motel room for another night. Somebody paid for one last night to try and help me be able to do this. And I told them, well, even if you do that, I'm not positive we can do it. And they said, well, if you get a motel room, it'll put you closer where you need to go, and you got a better chance of doing it. And I said, right. So I accepted on that, and I'm driving there. It depends on how it works if I can do the audit, if this man can go. He's still working out some things, and he said he might have to be tomorrow. And so if it's today, I definitely can do it. If it's tomorrow, it might be another motel room, or if we can't, then we'll have to just keep driving all night to get back to where we're going at home. It's up to y'all. If Northern Idaho Exposed or China Lynn or somebody put up my PayPal link in case anybody can, that would be great. If you can't, it's always great. You know, it's like this. I've had 20 people donate maybe in a certain length of time, and they all donated between $2 and $5. Well, I had $75 or $80, and it was enough to do what I had to do. Sometimes somebody's dropped a $50 bill, and I went and I could do that and go do something else. And I still gotta buy 2 tires for my truck when I get back, which y'all know I explained all the repair bills and that stuff, and the guy I referred to as Texas Mike. If he hadn't have come through and paid what he donated, as hard as I tried, and even putting in some of our own skin in the game money beyond going, we just couldn't have made it. So again, thanks to every single man, woman that gave $1. Thank you. It all adds up. Thank you for the people that had $20 or $50 or more. Thank you. But Texas Mike was a freaking powerhouse on the side of Jesus and doing what he could do. And he did, and he did, and he did, and he did. And literally, I could probably call him on the phone and say, I need some more help. But you know what? That to me is greed. That to me is uncalled for. That to me is wrong. If he knows about it, he's watching, he decides to do it, that's on him. I mean, I feel kind of ashamed in this man's presence, you know, to a point, because I don't know. I haven't never in my life asked nobody for nothing. So this is a first for me. I'm way over half a century old and never asked nobody for nothing. You know, I've taught to be self-reliant, and I don't need nothing for me. You know, I mean, I got benefit of my truck to get around, and you know, the people paid to get my truck fixed. Of course, I'd already made 2 rounds, and this was going to be my 3rd round. You know, and every time I made a round, 1,600 miles and 1,600 miles, and this will be the 3rd 1,600 miles. Plus, I'm going about 350, maybe 400 miles out of my way to do what I'm going to do. So this trip's going to turn into 2,000 miles by the time it's over. Maybe a little over. So, anyway, I thought it was worthwhile. I thought it was good. I thought this would prove things. The man asked me to come. The man wanted me to come. The man wants to be an auditor. He's never been an auditor, but he wants to be an auditor. And, you know, he's disabled, but he believes in the truth. He believes there's good cops and bad cops, and he believes there's good judges and bad judges, and believes in the free press, and he believes in free speech, and so forth and so on. In fact, I've known this man for many years. He's a great guy. He's a very strong Christian man, and he recently become disabled here several months ago due to an accident that was no fault of his, but it just happened. And so, at any rate, we'll do it today or tomorrow. I'm just going to believe God's going to provide. He's either going to cause 100 people or 200 people to give $1 each, or one man to give 100, another man to give 100, or something, you know, to pay for a little bit more gas, not much, but a little bit more, maybe one more tank, pay for the motel room, and maybe a little change for helping for these tires. I don't even know what the tires cost. I ordered my tires online, delivered to my house, because I try and steward the money God gives me wisely and correctly. So I probably got the tires 30% cheaper than I would get in a store, and I bought all four at the same time. I guess I'd say I spent about $150 a tire, and they were high rated, and they were guaranteed backed up. But because my front end, my ball joints, and then my front tie rod just was messed up, then they don't guarantee that. Nobody does. That'd be ridiculous. That'd be just like giving people extra set of tires for nothing. They can't be in business and do that. So whatever y'all can do, appreciate it. And I want to say I've been praying for free bowel movement. I've been praying for him. I've been praying for whoever is assisting him in his counsel, be that another inmate, be that a common law lawyer, be that a bar card lawyer or judge, or one that's retired. Please be praying for Brother Bow. Be praying for those that was wrongfully arrested and accosted in Leon Valley by the chief, Slugville, and his crazy aggressive lieutenant and crazy aggressive sergeant. You know what? When I arrived there at Leon Valley, they showed me a picture of this lieutenant, and they said, "Oh my God, stay away from him. He is the most aggressive police officer we've ever seen. Just really, really bad aggressive." Said, don't get close to him, and if he walks towards you, you need to walk away. He's bad news. Said this sergeant ain't as bad as him, but he ain't far behind him. Anyway, holy moly. James is going nutso back here, trying to talk to his mother. He's excited for where we're going, and hopefully what we're going to be doing. You want to have what?
I want to have a snack.
Do you have a?
I want to have
Well,
a snack.
well, we'll be eating before too long. Do you think you can have a snack and still eat?
Yes, sir.
Okay, well then go ahead. He wanted to have a snack. We're supposed to have a meal here probably in an hour, give or take, maybe a little less, I'm not really sure. And we bring snacks in case, because like my sugar kind of fluctuates a little bit, and if it's starting to drop out, I eat something to pick it up. If it starts to go up a little bit, then I just drink some more water and it comes down right. It's like hypoglycemic or whatever you want to call it. It can go up or down. Just dependent. And believe it or not, that was caused by a head injury in an accident. Of according to the brain doctor. That's you know, I'm good, live my life, everything's great, but there's something in your brain that controls your pancreas, and if it gets damaged through poor malnutrition or a head strike or a chemical imbalance, it can cause your sugar to go up because it's not producing enough insulin, or it can overproduce and make your insulin go down. I mean, your insulin go up or down, so your sugar can go up or down. And so I've just learned to keep some peppermints with me in case it starts to drop out. I have a peppermint, and I always usually got plenty of water, and if I feel it going up, I drink extra water and it goes down. It's just, wow, it's just that easy. I want to thank my moderators. I really want to thank all of y'all for doing a great job. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I want to thank Northern Idaho Exposed. He's getting up a he's getting up a call. See, I believe it's tomorrow for the Northwest auditors, and I'm going to do my very, very best to listen in and see what's going on there. I try and of course people might take this wrong because people have misused this term. I can reach out and touch the next man or woman and listen to them. When I'm saying reach out and touch, and you know what I mean. I'm trying to, what they call a familiar touch, metaphorically, meaning I'm your friend, I'm your family, and I'm listening to what you got to say. What do you not know that I could help educate you on? What do you know that I don't know that you could educate me on? So that when we leave, I know more and you know more. That'll help me live my life better and help me with my family and you. Yada, yada, yada. Anyway, I have got to call the man on the other end and find out exactly this meeting location, because I'm getting fairly close. And I got to get this address where I got to meet him at. For all I know, he could be watching this thing right now. He might be. But anyway, hey, there's a Reverend Kelly. Reverend Kelly, we love you, yes we do, yes we do. Da 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 da. We love all the mods. So Reverend Kelly, boy, that is a die-hard, back-up fella, and a hardcore practicing Christian, and he's the one that started and repeatedly kept saying, "You're the voice of reason. You're the voice of reason. You're the voice of reason." Constantly saying, "You're the voice of reason." You know. Yeah, I'm singing. Da 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 da. We love you. We love you. That's going to be my next career after I get through being a press agent. I'm going to be a singer. Ha ha ha. Y'all know I'm crazy. Crazy for y'all. Crazy for Jesus. I don't get nothing out of this. I get satisfaction out of helping y'all. I get satisfaction out of educating people. I get satisfaction out of making sure things are right, fair, honest, and just. But, I already know all this stuff. This creates a lot of trouble for me, actually. I mean, You know, I got cops I've known for years that said, you're a Benedict Arnold, you're a turncoat, you're a backstabber. And I said, prove I've said something that's not true. I said, that's what I thought. Some people said, well, you're being anti-cop. Nope, that's wrong. That's a lie to hell. I am pro peace officer. I am pro law enforcement. Pro good cop. I said, you know that term anti-cop, that's something they've come up with since post 9/11 when the police went on to a military footing. And they got this sovereign citizen and quotation marks, and they teach and train you that. They also teach you that anybody that don't, quote, comply is a police word, a military word, but in reality, comply means you do what I say. It doesn't matter if it's right, wrong, logical, or illogical. I spoke it. I'm the sitting king. I'm in charge of you. You are my subject and I am the king. And I hereby order you to do these things. Okay? Hey, Reverend Kelly. Yeah. Free bow. Yeah. Free bow. Yeah. Free bow. Yeah. Tarrant County, also known as Tyrant County, jail, detention facility, the place where the cages are, they still got Brother Bow in there. Bow. Let's get a bow movement. Yeah, bow movement. All right. Well, I'm going to do a countdown where y'all tell each other howdy and blah, 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 and all that stuff. Y'all want to see James? If y'all want to see James Jones Jr., if y'all want to see him, give me a 1. Give me a 1 if you want to see him, and I'll pick up the phone and let him say hello to the people. That's 2 ones, 3 ones, 4 ones, 5 ones, 6. Oh my God, there come the ones. They want James. Hey, James.
Sir?
Can you sing him a little bit of your Carrie Underwood, Jesus Take the Wheel? Can you do it? Yes or no?
Do I have to?
Well, you've been wanting to, so you tell me. You want to sing a little bit of it? You remember the first part? Jesus, take me by the wheel, take me by the wheel. How's it go? Hey, do you love the people?
Yes, I do.
You know the people love you, right?
Yes.
You ain't want to tell them like God bless you or
God bless the people.
God bless the people. All right, y'all heard it from James. God bless the people. And the people that talk about my nostrils, look, I'm going to do this just for you so you can remember you were looking at the top of my nose, not my nostrils. You know what? That really kills me. Some of these people would kill Jesus if he was here. They would find fault in Jesus. I mean, I'm a messenger. I'm a publisher. I'm an information educator. And I go way out of my way, put myself in harm's way to bring you the truth and help make the system fair. And you talk about, I saw your nose hair. or you're stupid, or you're ignorant, or you're a dummy, or whatever. And I realize a lot of them are cops that are butthurt. They're judges that said he's creating problems for the system, uh, or they're the wife or the mother or grandmother or father grandfather of some police officer, some judge somewhere, and then they can brainwash that the people that want to follow the Constitution, which is the law of the land, that they invoke it and don't just bend over and take it, for lack of a better word. And I probably could find a better choice of words. Sometimes I get upset, but Jesus actually has me praying for these people. He has me praying for them. You know, that they've been misguided, they've been misled, they got poor attitudes, they've hurt the people. He said they got no hope but for you and other people and my other children, praying for them. I have to pray for Chief Slugville. It ain't easy, but I still have to call it like I see it. I pray for the mayor, the city manager, and all them down there in Leon Valley and over at Almost Park. People say, "Are you serious? Are you serious? Really?" Yeah, I have to. It's the law of God. You must forgive. Doesn't mean that they don't have to be punished, because they do. They have to be punished. That's the law of the land. Whether that's fines, being fired, put in jail, whatever has to happen, has to happen. But I have to forgive them and pray for them that they find the Lord and that they would serve the Lord. If they do, they do. If they don't, they don't. I can only do what Jesus tells me to do. You know, one time a woman saw her husband shot live on TV, and the people talked to her like an hour or two later, and they said, "So, how would you like to get your revenge?" or something to that fact. And that lady said, "I forgave them." He said, they just shot your husband in the head." She said, "I'm a Christian and God commands me to forgive them. Don't mean that I ain't mad. Don't mean that I don't have hurt. But I have to forgive them. And Jesus will help me do that. Jesus will help me do that." And I said, wow. I was like 9 or 10 years old, and I got it, but I didn't get it. But I've thought about that all my life since then, and I say, wow, I've never had a family member shot in the head and then tried to forgive. Yep, Jesus was a Jew.